The giant killer known as Andrea. She's tough as rock and a powerful defense player. Lil Ragu known as Jared. He may be small but he's strong, and he's a punk rock skater. So come and check us out and follow us. The journey's just begun. We are Little Ragu and Giant Killer. Autism 101. We are Little Ragu and the Giant Killer. Autism 101.
Hi, I'm Jared and Little Ragu.
And hi, I'm Andrea, the Giant Killer.
And we are here with Temple Grandin, right? Or how do you?
That's correct.
So what interests you on autism? What kind of connection do you have with autism?
Well, when I was a little kid, I was nonverbal. I am autistic. That's my connection. Could you tell me more about your show?
Yeah, we do this blog thing to inspire others and talk about autism.
Okay.
We kind of interview a group relating to autism or someone with autism, and then we add in little things in between, like about autism, or like us with our pets, or just showing different autism things.
Okay. No, I was nonverbal until age 4, had really good speech therapy. Now I'm a professor of animal science at Colorado State University.
Sweet.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah, I am autistic, but being a researcher and being a scientist is also really important to me.
That's cool.
So what was it like growing up with autism?
Well, I grew up in the 50s, and young childhood actually went quite well, but high school was horrible. Bullying, teasing. And the only places I was not bullied and teased was when I had a shared interest with another student in something like building electronic devices.
Oh, sweet.
Shared interests are really important because that's where I had friends. Also, I had a friend I rode horses with.
Oh, cool.
These were things where there was a shared interest that had actually nothing to do with autism. One of the things that we did in the electronics lab this was early 60s, is we took these big speakers and we'd stretch a piece of rubber over a speaker and glue mirrors onto it. And then when you shine a light onto it, the light beams on the ceiling would jiggle in time with the music. That was a really cool early 60s electronics project. It's
Sweet.
still a very cool project.
Sounds awesome.
A lot of fun to do, and it's sometimes hard to find these big speakers now with the cone type speakers. But any speaker that vibrates, you can do that with.
So why is it hard for an autistic to have eye contact and communication?
I think part of the problem is sensory, because one of the problems in autism is multitasking. And when you have to look at someone in the eyes, you got to think about that, and then it's hard to think about the speech. Multitasking is a problem. When I'm recommending jobs for people with autism, it's a good idea to avoid something like the McDonald's takeout window because it's too much multitasking. Mm-hmm. And get a job that doesn't require multitasking. I do design work, and that doesn't require multitasking. I just was reading an email from a boy with autism who's an excellent photographer. Excellent. He could have a wonderful career in photography. That does not require multitasking.
What is an advice you could give a parent of an autistic kid to help with the parenting?
Well, it depends upon how old they are. Little kids, if they're 3-year-olds and they're not talking, you've got to get into some therapy. The worst thing you could do is to let this child just sit in the corner watching videos all day. That's the worst thing you can do. I was in speech therapy by 2.5. These kids need 2 or 3 hours a day, one-to-one teaching by an effective teacher that gets more language, more turn taking, and basic skills, things like being able to put your clothes on, for example. That's really important. And then slightly older kids, find something that the student's good at and build on it. I was good at art. That was always encouraged. And I was encouraged to do lots of different kinds of art. Another kid, it might be mathematics. Bored in school with baby math. Maybe have them do some harder math that would challenge them, develop their area of strength. And we've got to make sure these kids are not getting just totally addicted to video games. Then they end up, they're 22 years old and they're in the basement playing video games, and that's all they do. And they're not becoming video game designers. If they were becoming video game designers, I would not be critical.
Yeah.
Is there a difference in autism in women and men?
Well, in women, it's sometimes harder to, it's not as noticeable. That would be the main difference. So when you're not doing these blogs, what are you doing?
I'm just working
What are you working at?
at a school, Salina School District.
Okay, so you work for the school district?
Yeah,
And what do you do there?
custodian.
Okay, well, that's good. And you've got a job and you're keeping it.
Yeah,
It's
And
really
I
good. And it was a job that you got. You see, a lot of good jobs are gotten because you know somebody. Half of all good jobs for everybody are gotten through knowing somebody. And you got that job because, somebody knew somebody.
Yeah, and I work at a hospital cleaning. I clean at a hospital.
Okay. Well, that's good. You both have jobs. That's great. And you're keeping them.
Yeah.
That's really important.
How long have you had your job, Andrea?
About 5 years.
And
Good.
I had mine for a couple of years.
Well, that's good. Who is, maybe you could tell me about your sign you have there, Lil, Ragu, and the Giant Killer. What does that refer to?
We both have these nicknames. I'm Little Ragu because of a whole incident where I spilled some pasta sauce and my friends started calling me Little Ragu.
Okay.
You can tell them about the giant killer.
And then the giant killer, I used to play basketball and I used to be really good at defense, and they just started calling me the giant killer.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's good.
Yeah, they're pretty unique names.
Yep, that's right.
So what part of the brain is affected by autism, and how does autistic people think?
Well, there's kind of the brain can, a lot of people are really tuned into social emotional, or somebody might be more into more intellectual things. Like maybe they're interested in computer programming or interested in, designing cars or something like that. And one of the things that's different is that the circuits in the brain that help people to recognize faces, those often have problems. But then there might be in some people, not everybody, extra circuits for things like art or mathematics or music. And so autism in its mildest forms is just a personality variant. And its more severe forms, you may be nonverbal and then have serious epilepsy along with the autism.
So I was wondering about something because my mom was saying that my uncle knows you. His name is Jerry Karcheski.
Oh, yes, I know him. He was a plant manager.
Yeah, he's my uncle.
Oh, he's your uncle. Oh, I know him really well. I worked with him when he was a plant manager.
Yeah.
And when I worked with him on the Animal Welfare Committee for the American Meat Institute.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, ever since I watched the movie about you, I always wanted to meet you. Just you seem like an interesting lady, like smart lady.
Yep, I know Jerry Karcheski really well. Really nice person.
Yeah, he is. So, what is one advice you could give to an autistic person to help improve in their social skills?
Well, there's certain, things in the 50s, I was, they taught social skills, being polite for things and saying please and thank you. The other thing I had to learn is that maybe other people are not as interested in something I'm interested in as much. And if I go on talking for an hour about one of my interests, that can get very boring to other people. So I have to learn how to not just go on and on talking about my interest.
Okay. Anything else, Andrea?
No, well, thank you for the interview.
Okay, you're very welcome. It was good to be here.
Yeah.
And if we're done with the interview, then I'm gonna leave the meeting, and thank you for having me.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Yep, nice
Okay.
meeting you.
Nice to talk to you. Say hello to Jerry Karshevsky.
I will.
Okay, wonderful to talk to you. I'll
Yeah.
leave the meeting. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.